So it is that time again, and we are back with some Championship score predictions. As always, all this weekend's fixtures will be listed in the description down below, so that you guys can easily go ahead and make your score predictions. And then if you do successfully manage to get any of them correct, your comment will be included into the next video. And coming up this weekend, we have got some big games. What I'm loving about the Championship this season is just how tight it is at both the top and bottom of the table. So this weekend could have a big effect on how the table does shape up come the end of the season. So without further ado, let's hop into my score predictions. And so we'll start it out with tonight's game going on between Sheffield United and West Brom. Currently only 1 point separates these two sides in the Championship, with Sheffield United currently sat third in the table, looking to close the gap on Leeds United sat above them currently. And it's a pretty tough one to predict, this one. Both sides have been playing some relatively decent football lately. West Brom are unbeaten in their last 5 games. However, their last game in the Championship, a 2-2 draw against Aston Villa. Not the greatest performance that we've seen from West Brom so far this season defensively. They were letting Aston Villa get into a lot of dangerous areas for that one, and probably didn't deserve to get a point from it in the end. Obviously, J. Rodriguez scoring quite a controversial late goal to level that one up in the end, but you can't take it away from West Brom. Their attacking threat this season has been their main strength so far, already scoring 44 goals this season in the Championship. Going up against Sheffield United isn't going to be an easy game though. So far, what we've seen from Sheffield United lately in the Championship is them being in control of a lot of football matches. I feel like this will be the similar type of game to that as well. I don't think the West Brom will have the most of the ball in this one. They'll be looking to hit Sheffield United on some counter-attacks with some of the fast players they've got going forward like Bonds and Gale. For this game, I am going to back Sheffield United for a 2-1 home victory. I don't think there's going to be all too much in this one, but I'll just back the home side. FIFA's going to say it'll be 2-0 West Brom. Then after that, we see Aston Villa going up against Stoke City. Two sides coming into this one on a decent run of form actually. Aston Villa unbeaten in their last 6 Championship matches, and Stoke unbeaten in their last 8 Championship matches. However, 5 of those games have been draws for Stoke City. That's something that they need to change sooner rather than later. And a couple of Stoke's performances lately haven't been all too convincing. Their last one in the Championship, they beat Ipswich by 2 goals still at home. Even with picking up 3 points in that game, I didn't think it was a very good performance from the home side. Some of their players have been in good form going forward lately though. Tommins has been in a nice run of form lately, been scoring quite a few goals for them so far, already got 6 so far this season. But going up against Aston Villa, who do pose a very good attacking threat. El Ghazi scoring 2 goals the other week against West Brom, one fantastic finish in that game. He's a player who I'd like to see more of this season for Aston Villa. Got some real quality playing out on that right hand side. And something that I have noticed recently with Aston Villa is a lot of the games have been quite high scoring, but they do create a lot of chances per game. Tammy Abraham's been getting into some fantastic goal scoring positions lately. There are some instances where he does miss a couple of quite easy chances. The game they had against West Brom the other week, Tammy Abraham probably should have finished that game off with some of the chances they had. So this one, I don't once again feel like there's going to be all too much in it, but I am going to back Aston Villa for a 2-1 home victory in this game. I just feel like as performances go, Villa have slightly edged Stoke recently. So I'll say 2-1 Villa. FIFA's going to say it'll be a 1-1 draw. And then we see Blackburn going up against Birmingham. Blackburn lately have been turning their form back around in the Championship. After a couple of dodgy performances against Preston and Wigan, they followed that up by 2 very convincing displays against Sheff Wednesday and Middlesbrough. The game they had last time against Middlesbrough, arguably they should have gone to win that game with some of the chances they had in that one. But it's going to be an interesting game against Birmingham. You never really know what you're going to get from either of these two sides. Birmingham in their last game in the Championship weren't the most convincing, really, losing 1-0 against Bristol City. Their forward 2 so far this season, Djukovic and Cherlems, have been fantastic at linking up with each other, but nothing was quite sticking for them in that game they had against Bristol City. It was quite a low tempo sort of game. The game was getting bogged down in midfield. It ended being quite scrappy in the end, and nothing was quite coming off for them. So going into this one, I don't feel like there's going to be all too much in it between the two sides. What I would say about Blackburn though is at home so far this season, they have been scoring a lot of goals. In their last home game against Sheff Wednesday, we saw Danny Graham scoring a hat-trick in that one, and Bradley Dack looking back to his best form as well. So for this game, I am going to back Blackburn for a 2-1 home victory. I could see it finishing as a draw, but I feel like Blackburn may have that bit more going forward for this one. I'll say 2-1 Blackburn. FIFA's going to say it'll be a 1-1. Then we see Bolton going up against Leeds United. Quite a lot has been talked about with Bolton lately in the Championship, with players not being paid. I believe that this morning the players have finally been paid, I believe 2 weeks overdue. So everything off the pitch at Bolton at the moment is a mess, and things on the pitch haven't been that much better either. Their last performance in the Championship though, I do think that they can take some positives from that. Obviously they're a gut-wrenching way to lose a game in the last minute against Norwich City after bringing it back to 2-2. But one thing that I would say about Bolton from that game was that off the ball they were looking a lot more resilient, a lot more organised. Although I wouldn't say their performances have been peaking lately, Leeds have been rolling out the results lately. One big story breaking from Leeds United recently though has been that Samu Saiz has potentially asked for a move away from Leeds United, as he is apparently unsettled at the club. Leeds fans, I'd love to get your perspective on the whole Saiz situation in the comments down below. What do you think is going to play out over the January transfer window? Would you let him go, or would you like to see him stay? It's quite an interesting one because although Saiz hasn't been involved in as many goals as some of the players at Leeds so far this season, I don't think that his importance to this Leeds side can really be underestimated. Playing in that number 10 position, he creates space for others, his runs off the ball are very intelligent. If he is to leave, I think that would leave a bit of a void in that Leeds United squad. What I'd probably argue the best thing to do for Leeds would be to maybe move Pablo Hernandez into that number 10 position, then maybe play someone else out wide. But it's an interesting one for Bielsa to come up with. In terms of a score prediction for this game, I do think that Leeds are going to have more than Bolton this weekend, really. So for a prediction, I'm going to back Leeds for a 2-0 away victory, whereas FIFA's going to say it'll be 1-0 Leeds. And a massive game at the bottom of the Championship this weekend sees Hull City going up against Brentford. I still can't believe that Brentford have got themselves into this situation, really. But if Hull do win this weekend, that will see them go above Brentford in the Championship and really could drag Brentford into a relegation battle this season, which is absolutely baffling considering how good they were at the start of the season. But Brentford lately have really been shooting themselves in their own foot. The game they had last weekend against Swansea City, losing by 3-2. They were 3 goals down by about 25 minutes, and after that, could never really recover. Going forward, they do have players who could hurt Hull. Obviously, they have been scoring a lot of goals recently. Brom has been in a decent run of form lately, but this Hull side haven't been looking all too bad lately. They've only lost 1 of their last 5 Championship matches, although 3 of those have ended as a draw. But for this game, Hull have had players going forward who have been looking decent lately. Jared Bowen's been looking very good. Grosicki as well, been a very effective player for them going forward. And honestly, I fancy Hull for this one. I think that defensively, Hull are a lot more organised than this Brentford side currently are, and for that reason, I'm going to back Hull for a 2-1 home victory, and FIFA is going to agree with me for that one. Then we got Ipswich Town going up against Wigan Athletic. Obviously, Ipswich still rooted to the bottom of the Championship, only 1 win all season, and the most worrying thing about Ipswich currently is they're just looking like a bit of a defeated team already, really. They've lost their last 4 games in the Championship. Obviously, Paul Lambert, since coming in, is yet to win a game with them, but it's a decent opportunity to get something against a Wigan side who haven't been quite firing on all cylinders recently in the Championship. With the injury to Nick Powell lately, Wigan haven't quite been at it going forward in terms of scoring goals and looking to open up their opponents. Josh Windass is a player who I've been quite intrigued by at Wigan Athletic so far this season. I've been interested to get some Wigan fans' perspectives on what you made of Windass so far in the comments down below. To me, he's been a little bit hit or miss so far. The game they had against Derby County, Wigan didn't really have a lot going forward for that game. They'll be looking to put this Ipswich defence under quite a lot of pressure for this one, having the 2nd worst defensive record in the Championship. Ipswich defensively so far this season has looked like an absolute wreck. Wilkowski, the Ipswich goalkeeper, has dropped some absolute clangers so far this season, but going forward, Ipswich at home this season at least have been scoring a few goals lately, and so for this game, I actually fancy Ipswich to get a point from this one. I'm going to back this one to finish as a 1-1 draw, with FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 Wigan. And then we got my team Preston going up against Millwall. An interesting game this one. Both teams have quite a few injuries coming into this game, so I don't think that either side is really going to be firing on all cylinders for this one. Obviously, Preston last weekend picked up quite a dramatic 1-0 away victory against Nottingham Forest. Very unexpected, to my opinion. I wasn't expecting us to get anything from that game, really, considering all the injuries we've currently got with the squad. It is believed that Ben Pearson could be back this weekend, though, for Preston, which will be absolutely massive for us. He just marshals our midfield and really does make us tick going forward as well. Winning the ball back, giving us that intensity in midfield, which I think is going to be very important against a side like Millwall. Millwall lately, although they haven't been quite picking up the results in the Championship, some of their performances haven't been bad so far this season. It's just been, at times defensively, they've been a little bit all over the place, or going forward, they've been creating chances, but not quite been clinical enough. In the game they had last weekend against Hull City, they had twice as many goal scoring opportunities as them, but still dropped points in that game, finishing as a 2-2 draw in the end. So for Millwall, they just need to turn some of the draws they've been getting lately into wins. Obviously, they're still right down there near the bottom of the Championship, just sat above the relegation zone at this point in time, and a game away against Preston could go either way. Preston lately only lost 1 of our last 11 games in the Championship, so it's an interesting game. Louis Malt lately has been scoring a lot of clutch goals for Preston, so I'm hoping he can continue his rich vein of form, and I do have a feeling that this is the sort of game where both sides are going to cancel each other out and it's going to end as a 1-1 or something like that, but I will just back Preston for a 2-1 home victory. It's a tough one to call this weekend. I'll just back Preston for this one. FIFA's going to say it'll be a 1-1. And then we see QPR going up against Middlesbrough this weekend. Middlesbrough lately have been slipping down the Championship. They've not won in their last previous 3 games, and some of their performances lately haven't all been all too convincing, really. Scoring goals has been a little bit of an issue for Middlesbrough in the Championship so far. However, Britt Assombalonga scored an absolute cracker last weekend, so maybe he can be their talisman going forward for this season. They have experimented with a couple of options there, but no one's really been able to find any consistency for them. What Middlesbrough's main strong point so far this season has, of course, been their defence, but even defensively lately, they've not been looking brilliant. The game they had against Blackburn Rovers, Blackburn were creating a lot of chances against them, and Middlesbrough were losing the ball in some quite silly areas, actually. They can't be affording to do that against QPR, who at home so far this season have been looking fairly decent. They've not been on the best of runs lately in the Championship. They've not won any of their previous 4 matches. However, some of their performances have still been pretty consistent. They look to make themselves hard to break down at home. They look to play with an intensity under Steve McLaren, and going forward they do have players who could hurt this Middlesbrough side, with them looking a little bit vulnerable at the back currently. For a prediction for this one, I don't see there being ultimately goals scored in it really, so for this one I'm going to back it to finish as a 1-1 draw. With FIFA saying it'll be 1-0 QPR. And a massive game at the bottom of the Championship this weekend sees Rotherham United going up against Reading. Now Reading lately have been looking a little bit all over the place off the pitch as well as on of it. Of course, they're still without a manager after sacking Paul Clement. I thought that the plan would be for Reading, when they sacked Paul Clement, they'd have someone instantly lined up to come into the job and look to rectify the situation that they're currently in. That's not been the case. A lot of managers who Reading have been linked to recently in the press have all been knocked back, and so I'm not sure where they're going to turn to really. Obviously, like I said, when I'm recording this video, they're still without a manager. Going up against Rotherham isn't going to be an easy game this weekend either. Although Rotherham are still sat quite low down in the Championship, their home record this season has been very solid. I believe they've only lost one game at home all season so far, and some of the performances have been fairly decent from Rotherham lately. Their last game in the Championship, during 2-2 with Sheff Wed, I thought they were the better team in that game and probably could have gone to pick up all 3 points in that one really. I don't think there's going to be ultimately goals scored in this one, with it being quite a bottom of the table clash for this one. It is a really big game in Reading season for this one. They need a performance and they need a reaction after the game they had against Sheffield United, but without a manager I'm not sure they're going to get it. So for this game I'm going to back Rotherham for a 1-0 home victory, with FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Reading. Then we've got Swansea going up against Sheffield Wednesday this weekend. I must say it has been quite a while since I've been impressed by a Sheffield Wednesday performance. We've been seeing them trickle down the Championship, and I'm not sure where the rot's going to stop for Sheffield Wednesday really, unless they do go ahead and have a change of manager, a change of system. Something's got to change within the club, because lately they've been looking absolutely all over the place, both off the pitch and on it as well. Their last performance against Rotherham finishing as a 2-2 draw. I thought Sheffield Wednesday was second best for most of that game really, and going up against a side like Swansea, who are looking very confident going forward against Brentford, they put 3 goals past them in that game. We could see quite a few goals scored in this game this weekend in my opinion. Sheffield Wednesday of course conceding 38 goals already this season in the Championship, absolute shambles at the back so far. Swansea were looking, they've scored some absolutely outrageous goals at the weekend against Brentford. The Leroy third goal especially, absolutely fantastic work up, build up play in that goal. Swansea can be a little bit suspect at the back themselves, but I feel like they will have a bit more than Sheffield Wednesday in this game, and so I'll back the home side for a 3-1 home victory, with FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Swansea. And then we see Bristol City going up against Norwich as the evening kickoff on Saturday. Bristol City going into this one, they are unbeaten in their last 3 games in the Championship. However, the performances in those 3 games I didn't think were anything special really. The game they won against Birmingham, it was a good 3 points for them to pick up in the end against a tough side to go away to this season, but even so, it was a bit of a scrappy game in that one. I didn't think they had all too much going forward. Jeju getting on the score sheet once again for Bristol City, but even so, wasn't the best performance. The game they had against Millwall, I think they only had 1 shot on target for that game, and the game against Ipswich once again was a really sort of back and forth game, which I don't think that Bristol City had the most quality in. So going up against a side like Norwich will be a completely different test than the sort of teams they've been playing lately in the Championship. Norwich of course currently sat top of the Championship, and for good reason as well. They've been playing some fantastic football lately. One thing that you must say about Norwich is they have scored quite a few late goals in the Championship recently, which you can look at a few ways really. You can say that that's resilience, them going to the final whistle, having that drive to go forward this season, or you could argue they have been getting a little bit fortunate in some of the recent games in the Championship. Obviously a very dramatic game last time out, beating Bolton by 3-2. Timu Pukki popping up in the last minute to give them all 3 points in that game. But in terms of performances so far this season, I do think that Norwich will look to control this game, and the tempo off the ball from Bristol City hasn't quite been there. That sort of tenacity we've come to expect from Bristol City, the high energy football, hasn't really been there for them so far this season, and so for that reason I am going to back the away side Norwich for a 2-1 away victory in this game, with FIFA saying it'll be a 1-1 draw. And then our last game to predict this weekend is a huge game in the Championship, a really fierce one between Derby County and Nottingham Forest, and I'm very looking forward to watching this one. I think that this is the closest that both sides have been to each other in terms of quality in their starting 11 in quite a number of years in the Championship actually, and so it's going to be a really touchy game this one. I don't feel there's going to be all too much in it between the two sides. Nottingham Forest in their last game in the Championship of course losing 1-0 against my side Preston North End. For that game Forest had a lot of the ball for it, they controlled the tempo of the game really, but in the final third that's where they were let down really. Lewis Grobman looked to drop off in that game, playing quite deep, looking to link up with the midfield, but in the final third they didn't really have anything going for them. Defensively as well is also a bit of a worry for Nottingham Forest coming into this one. I believe that both Dawson and Fox are still going to be out injured for this one, and that's an area where I think that Derby will be looking to target with some of the players they've got going forward, like Jack Marrett, who's been on form lately, Harry Wilson been playing very well lately as well, and Tillman, Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, doesn't fill me with confidence. He has kept quite a a few clean sheets so far this season, but I think most of that has been down to Forest's work off the ball and defensively. In terms of Pantilimon as a goalkeeper himself, he has dropped a couple of clangers this season, and who knows, it's small margins like that which do win football matches like this. Derby have been fairly consistent lately in the Championship. They have been lifting themselves up. Some of their performances haven't been the best lately. The game they had against Wigan, I thought they could have possibly clicked up another gear, and so for this one against Forest, both sides are going to be going for it for 90 minutes, and I have got a gut feeling for this one that Derby will walk away with all 3 points. The reason I say that is because the defensive injuries that Forest have at the moment, I feel like could be massive going into this one. It's going to be a very tight game, but I just feel like the home side may have the edge in this one. I'm going to back Derby for a 2-1 home victory, whereas FIFA's saying it's going to be 1-0 Nottingham Forest. I'm very interested to get your guys' opinions on this one. But guys, they have it there on my Championship score predictions for the upcoming weekend. So do you guys agree with my score predictions? Let me know in the comments down below. But guys, that will now wrap it up for this video, so thank you so much for watching. If you did go in to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.